Next topic we're gonna talk about is about disinformation or misinformation. I like to use the term disinformation in a lot of association with when it comes to my personal identity, but
It's a whole
this
lot
is
of
about
Asians, man.
misinformation and how misinformation is about to get a lot worse because of artificial intelligence.
Mm.
Mhm.
This article is
Mhm.
from the Atlantic, and this is basically an op-ed from Eric Schmidt. If you don't know Eric Schmidt, he used to be the CEO of Google. He ran it for a
Mhm.
period of time while
Mhm.
Google was founded by Larry Page and or was it Sergey Brin, but they didn't really know how to run the business, so they
Yeah,
gave it
they
to
didn't know how to
Eric
make it
Schmidt.
a business. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't know how to make it business for
Yeah.
real. So Eric Schmidt ran it for a while, and apparently he used to work for Novell back in like the early 2000s, whatever. But
Yeah.
he was talking about how the idea of artificial intelligence coming into the world that we live in with social media today, and how that could essentially propel misinformation even further than what it is today. Uh, Talking about it's already easy to spread misinformation and get people to sort of follow it just with general social media. All
Yep.
these are like posts. They're just
Yeah.
pictures, words, a couple of videos here and there, and maybe some podcasts, audio posts and whatnot. But they mostly sending out this misinformation. And people are grabbing onto it and tying themselves to it. And most of these campaigns are done by like farming locations. Like it might be a group in Russia, it might be a group in India, it might be a group
Always a
in the
group in Russia,
Ukraine.
man.
Yeah, it's always a group in
Always a
Russia.
group in
You know what I mean?
Russia.
Might be a group in China, Bangladesh or something. And they're getting paid to push these agendas against other people, or they may just be doing for a higher, anonymous purpose, whatever, anarchy, general anarchy. And that it's already a campaign that works. We see how it works in past elections and whatnot, and just the state of our governance right now. But how that could be pushed even further with artificial intelligence being around,
Mhm.
Yeah,
it basically
it's
can do the
it's
job of 10
ridiculous.
people. This
Yeah.
is John Henry versus the machine right here. So like
Yeah.
we're getting
Yeah.
to the point
Mitchell's versus
where
Mitchell's versus the machines for my
Oh,
kids.
you seen that? Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
my
Mitchell
joint.
versus,
Yeah,
man, Mitchell's versus the Machines is that movie, dude. I watch
yeah, it
that with my
is.
kids all the time.
I
I'm
gotta
like, this
see
is a
that.
man. I like this joint. I'm like, what is this? My son
For
was like,
sure.
Daddy, you watched it like twice already. I'm like, I like it.
Well, that's right. It's serious, man, because that's
So we
really
ain't,
hit
we
it.
ain't really like it. We just watch it because you watching it, Dad.
Yeah.
The Mitchell vs. Machines is a serious movie, man. Because it's serious because I mean I like it. I think it's dope with the
It's
art and
the
everything
yeah.
stuff like that. But
But
yeah, that's
it kind
AI.
of
Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, but it relates back to this because it's like with AI. Well, okay, so here's the reality now. AI is already a integral part of what we do in life. Our
Mhm.
phones have AI built into them. Our Netflix is built with an AI algorithm that looks exactly to your preferences. So it's already here. It's not like it's this thing way into the future. I think the problem is becoming that there's no real everyone has their truth, right?
Mm,
But we don't there has to be something that we all say, okay, that's the truth, right?
Mhm.
right, right,
And
yeah.
this is what we're going to hold as the truth. Everyone's saying what their truth is. And I'm like, yo, but okay, the sky is blue. But they're like, no, it's red. Some people say it's pink.
It's
Some people say
teal.
it's gray. I'm like, it's
I mean,
teal. I'm like, nah, dude,
The
it's
sky is actually
blue.
reflection. It's really no color.
Exactly. And that's what's happening with the internet right now. We have all these people that are saying all this information and no one's stating what's the truth, what exactly it is. And then you throw in AI that boasts just what's the most popular. It just says,
mhm.
okay, well, hey, this is the most popular thing, and let's just boost that out to everybody. And that's where it can be super dangerous, where now you have something that really wasn't the truth being posted to all these other people, and they're beginning to take that as their truth. And that's what we're really seeing now.
It reminds me of you remember we did that article before, Mike, when I was talking about I forgot what it was, but it was like it was about deep fake videos and how it was like
Yeah.
I think one of the pretty much the situation occurred where the deep like the AI was like starting to read, for the sake of, I mean, pardon all of my white listeners, it's nothing personal, right?
Yeah.
But it started to like start to look at all black people the same. Like this was AI doing this. They're like, hold
Yeah.
on, wait a minute, something's going on here, because it can't be, and you think about just the idea of missing. If you put that in the hands of, I would say, a shackled AI, this, of course, it has the ability to learn and do things on its own, but it's only given certain information to make certain decisions. You put that in the
Exactly.
hands of the wrong person, that you can start having, start profiling the wrong way. And then we got the whole situation where people are already giving the information away. You can have a whole bunch of, like, these are things, it sounds funny, but this is the type of stuff you see in movies where, suddenly like something happens where a certain race or a certain group of people just all start to get mistreated, or something happens and it's like, well, what's going on here? And it's because the way that the AI is functioning, somebody is giving it the wrong information or
Mhm.
disinformation, malicious information, to start doing all these type of things that, when it gets to when how the masses handle it, they don't know what's going on. They just feel like it's something natural, or something is occurring, but behind the scenes, someone's actually doing pulling the strings.
Yep.
And I
Yeah.
think that's what is happening here. What we're kind of in danger of when it comes to like this whole thing with misinformation, because at the end of the day, someone always has an agenda, right? Even down to Google. Google would seem like the most unassuming company, but I think they have data on everybody. You know what I'm saying? They're tracking why you go to this place and you can ads for it, right? So there's
Mhm.
always a reason for why information is put out there in the first place. So the fact that we're in the stage where there can be a potential uptick, and it's going to be powered by something that has the capacity to do it 100-fold more than human beings can, is at the least bit you can say dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
well, because some people will say like, it's already happening. Like, why is this any different?
Mm.
Like the different, because AI is already driving like news feeds, and they
Yep.
drive the Instagram feed. They sort of
Yep.
generate like posts and stuff like that, like based on what you
Hmm.
already like and stuff like that. Like
Yep.
what they're talking about with this artificial intelligence, is the idea that it could actually be a person or a bunch of people. Like the people that
Yeah.
are actually posting could be the AI. So it could be like
Yep.
at this point the AI is creating thought and
Mm.
creating the misinformation, not just distributing the disinformation, which
Gotcha.
is what Facebook is doing.
Yeah.
IG, Instagram, they distribute the information using the AI, but this AI is actually creating
They're
the
writing the blog
misinformation.
post.
It's writing the blogs.
Yeah.
It's writing the posts,
No.
and
Exactly. Yep.
it's writing the post, and then it's other AI is distributing it out for them. Yeah, I mean, so like
Exactly.
Great.
it's like layered on AI, and because just at that point, because if you're talking about a thoughtful AI, that's when they talk in this article about how that part of the AI can distribute itself to different devices. Article that
Hmm.
part of the article that we're reading was about the kid, growing up with a bear. That kid grows up with a bear, and it's an AI
Yeah.
bear, and it's learning the kid, how the kid thinks, so that like 5-10 years from now, the AI gets older, the bear gets old. I mean, the human gets older, the AI bear gets older, and
Yep.
it has its own thought process in 5-10 years, and it knows what the human likes and knows what the human kid likes. And at that point, it's starting to talk and recommend things to this person.
Hmm.
And they got to a point where they were talking about it, saying like, you know, the kid could be watching TV one day with the bear. The bear could be like, I don't like this show. And then the kid would be like, you know what? I don't like this show either. I think we're gonna watch something else. And that's like, the AI giving the thought and then pushing the human along to that agenda.
Yep.
Um,
Mm.
and the beginnings of that start with creating a thoughtful bot that can post something on social media, and
Yeah.
go beyond that and
It
actually
makes you
become an
think that like
influential thought.
it makes you think the idea, like, so like conscious AI that has the ability to discern and start to pick up some of those what we call human traits of, like, self-preservation and stuff like that, is
Mhm.
I think we're very close to that. Okay, if it's not something that's already going on. And I think that when we get
Yeah.
to that point, it reminds, like you said, Wayne, with the whole the Mitchell versus Machines, that
Hmm.
started because the
Have me
cell
watching this
phone
tonight.
that bro, you need to check it out.
It's
It's
so
mad
fun.
cool. You know what I mean?
It's
But that's with the
so
phone. Yeah, go ahead.
it's what I'm saying. So the reason why I brought up Mitchell's Machines because it's a kid's cartoon,
Yeah.
but it's funny because there's a lot of truth to it, right?
Right.
It's interesting because what happens is there's a device that comes out. It's called PAL. PAL is a device just like your normal phone, and PAL is now being replaced by this robot, right? So that's the whole story. But PAL gets mad that he's being replaced by this robot. That he ends up taking control of all the robots,
yes.
and
they
and
enslave
taking
the
over the
humans.
world,
Okay.
enslaving the humans.
Okay.
Just because the AI and PAL had gotten so smart, it started to feel, and
Yeah.
it got mad that
And then
now
the
he was being
creator of
replaced.
PAL, the way it happened is the creator. We don't want to ruin it too much for you, Mike.
Yeah, I don't
The
want to ruin
creator
too
of
much,
PAL
but
was like, "Yeah, you done," and threw it or
You
whatever
done.
the case is. And
Yeah,
after
threw
that, it was like PAL was in his feelings. It was like, "Bump that! I'm gonna just take over that." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah.
Prime
Yeah.
2.0 was done.
So
And
it's funny. It's a funny show. It's a funny way you see it. But the reality of it is with AI, now we're getting to the point, just like with the bear scenario. Now you're getting to a point where the application can now recommend something to the child, and the child can now say, you know what, I don't really like that. Let's do something else. And the AI will be like, oh yeah, let's do something else. That's where it can get scary because you have to start thinking about there's malicious hackers out there that can
Right.
manipulate that information and now take that kid and skew that kid a completely different way.
Yeah, I think I was reading them talking about, what if I want a racist bear? What if I'm a racist
Right.
person and I want my bear to be
So now,
racist?
exactly. So imagine now if you can start feeding that AI information,
Yeah.
misinformation, and now it's going to trigger back what you've been feeding it. That's when we start getting very, very scary because now we can start doing a lot of different stuff and influence a lot of different people that we can, that you probably couldn't do just by an individual person themselves.
Yeah, true indeed. Yeah, man. Big topics.